welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. I hope you're all having a lovely new year. Are we settling in? How is it feeling for you? How's the new year feeling for you, David?
Pardon?
I said, how's the new year feeling for you, David? It was a joke because I'm filming this on the 29th of December.
Oh, happy new year.
Today's video, just a short and sweet one really, about the books that I got for Christmas. Love getting books for Christmas. People are a bit nervous to get books for me for Christmas because I own quite a lot of books and I've read quite a lot of books from the library and stuff like that. But this year, no doubles, David.
Hurrah!
Hurrah! No doubles. So here I am talking you through the books that I've got for Christmas. So we'll start with the cookbooks. I'm a big fan of getting cookbooks for Christmas. Really big fan of getting cookbooks for Christmas because they're sort of like the gift that keeps on giving. And I also like giving cookbooks for Christmas as well. Often I'll give someone a cookbook and say, oh, next time I'm around, would you fancy making me this on page whatever. Bit cheeky, I know, but I enjoy it. The first one I got was from my sister. Oh, actually, both cookbooks I got were from my sister. This one is Vietnamese Vegetarian by Yuan Liu. I already own Yuan's Vietnamese cookbook because it was part of, Jamie Oliver did a cookbook book club last year through a Facebook group, and you just sort of there's a different cookbook every month and you celebrate what the cookbook and cook things from it and stuff like that. I really enjoy Vietnamese food, but that cookbook was majority meat, and David and I, well, I say David and I'm vegetarian. David is, I believe, what you'd call a flexitarian, so he eats vegetarian at home. I eat vegetarian all the time. And yeah, so there wasn't all that much that we made from that book. We made we made the banh mi with a spring onion omelette plenty of times, but yeah, we didn't make much else. So when I saw that there was a vegetarian version of Yuan's book, I was delighted. So I've had a little flick through. There's a whole section on tofu, which I'm very excited. Salt and pepper tofu, that's something that I actually make already. Lemongrass tofu, love a bit of tofu. Spiced tofu with aubergine and enoki mushrooms. But there's also a noodle section, a rice section, orange and grilled peach and tomato salad. That sounds delicious. So yeah, lots and lots of delicious Vietnamese vegetarian stuff. Very excited to get to that. And then my sister also bought me, look at this, the Call the Midwife official cookbook by Annie Gray, and this is so retro and fun. It is all sorts of recipes from sort of the 60s and the 50s, right up to stuff that's still eaten today. We had a real good time looking through this on Boxing Day when I unwrapped it. There was lots of stuff in here that my mum and dad had eaten when they were kids, including macaroni, pasta, as a dessert, which I'd not heard of. But yeah, it gives me big sort of like school dinners vibes. So for example, cheese and tomato tartlets and other stuff. But there's also like, there's my one true love, Trixie. Lots of lovely lovely photography from the series and like little sections about it and stuff like that. And there's a really big section on sweet stuff, so I'll be making some stuff out of that, but also mains and things. Tomato soup, that looks really nice. Yeah, and it's just a lovely gift, so I was very delighted to read that. But yeah, really retro fun stuff in here that I was very excited to. We were all having a good laugh looking through it, weren't we, David? Potato and onion pie. I'm looking forward to eating that. So there we go. So those were the two cookbooks. Lovely. Then just before we get onto the fiction books, David got me, oh no, not David, my cat Daphne, who sat there. Dappy! Do you want to come and show everybody? Dappy got me cute Kawaii cross stitch. I've always been a fan of cross stitch, but last year, in September or October, I treated myself to a big Christmas cross stitch, which I didn't get finished in time for Christmas. I didn't know that was going to happen. But I really loved sitting in front of the telly and cross stitching, or having the music on and cross stitching. I feel like it really makes me focus because I'm not like scrolling on my phone and stuff like that. So I had a lovely time doing that, and I can continue my cross stitch journey with this very cute cross stitch book, which has got lots and lots of little bits with little smiley faces on. So here we go. So here's a kitchen section, and we've got an enamel pot, a juice pitcher, a chopping knife, a colander and a refrigerator, all with little smiley faces on. And I've actually started this because I bought David some cross stitch for Christmas, and I've actually started this already. So yesterday we just sat in front of the telly and did lots of cross stitch, and I've done a little smiley pineapple and a little smiley watermelon, and this is the beginnings of a smiley raspberry. So yeah, this is very cute indeed. So fiction books. David's mum bought me a few fiction books. David's nan bought me a few fiction books. David got me one. And then I've got, let's do the last of the non-fictions before we get onto the fiction books. I also got the print version of Be a Birder by Hamza Yassin. This is a book that I listened to the audiobook of last year. And it's Hamza just giving you a sort of introduction into bird watching, which is something that I used to do when I was younger and very much enjoyed. And I wanted to get my hand on the the print copy of this, because I hope there would be pictures and illustrations and things. And there are, but not loads. So what I would say is that the audiobook is so beautiful. If you're going to go for one of these, the audiobook, I had such a lovely time listening to, and because Hamza does sort of impressions of the bird calls and things like that, I really enjoyed that. So I bought this thinking that I would need this because it would have pictures, but the pictures are a bit sparse, if I'm being honest. There's a few, but it's majority text. So yeah, I would go to the audiobook for this, but I will enjoy revisiting this this year. And I wasn't to know. But the fiction book. So weirdly, I said on my Instagram yesterday, I was talking about, I've been, because it's not quite New Year yet, even though we're watching this in the New Year, I've been thinking about my favourites for the year, and I normally do a little roundup of like my favourite books. Well, I do my best books of the year, but I also do films and TV, and this year I think I'm going to do albums. And when I asked people what their favourite books of the year had been, 2 people mentioned these 2 books, which I'd got for Christmas and hadn't heard of before. So the first one is The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. This says, for too long, Opaline, Martha and Henry have been the side characters in their own lives, but when a vanishing bookshop casts its spell, these 3 unsuspecting strangers will discover that their own stories are every bit as extraordinary as the ones found in the pages of their beloved books. By unlocking the secrets of the shelves, they themselves are transported into a world of wonder where nothing is as it seems. So yeah, I had never heard of this, and then I actually twice I've heard of it this week because somebody mentioned it as their favourite book of the year, and then I've got I've signed up to a newsletter for I can't think what they're called, but it's a sister duo. A Beautiful Mess, I think they're called, and they sent through an email with their best books of the year, and one of them was this, so there we go. Never heard of it before, twice in 1 week. And then somebody also mentioned the Whalebone Theatre as their favourite book of the year, and also I hadn't heard of this, so this is exciting too. So it says, this is the story of an old English manor by the sea with crumbling chimneys, draping ivy and a library full of dusty hardbacks. It's the story of the 3 children who grow up there, that's just David rummaging through the sweetie table, and the adventures they create for themselves while the grown-ups entertain endless party gifts, the worlds they imagine from books they aren't supposed to read, and the lessons they learn from eavesdropping through oak-panelled doors. This is the story of a whale that washes up on a beach, whose bones are claimed by a 12-year-old girl with big ambitions and an even bigger imagination. An unwanted orphan who grows into an unmarriageable young woman, chafing under the confines of her traditional upbringing and fiercely determined to do things differently. But far away from the big house, as the children grow to adulthood, another story has been unfolding in the wings, and when the war finally takes centre stage, the siblings find themselves cast unrehearsed into roles they never expected to play. Historical fiction, love it. So yeah, that sounds great, and it looks as though it's got some letters and stuff in there, which is things that I very much enjoy. And then this is another non-fiction. David's mum got me A History of the World in 21 Women by Jenny Murray, and this is, as it says, A History of the World in 21 Women. So Marie Curie discovered radium and revolutionised medical science. Empress Cixi transformed China. Frida Kahlo turned an unflinching eye on life and death. Anna Politkovskaya just dared to speak truth to power no matter the cost. Their name should be shouted from the rooftops, and that's exactly what Jenny Murray's here to do. So yeah, and this has got some pictures in and like portraits of what these women. Oh, that's Margaret Atwood, isn't it? I'm sure that's Margaret Atwood. Yeah, it is. So yeah, there's Margaret Atwood. So it's got some although it's sort of historical, it's also got some more recent people as well, which is very exciting. Hillary Clinton. Who else we got? Benazir Bhutto. Angela Merkel, sorry. Oh, Madonna. Great. So yeah, so that sounds great. And then David bought me, so every year, and it's one of my favourite gifts that I love to get, I say to David, just go into a bookshop and pick out a book that you think I will like. So with no sort of prior knowledge or anything like that. And this year he went into foils, didn't you, David? And he picked Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. Well, I mean, why did you pick this, David?
So I picked it because it was a non-white author.
Yeah.
and I know it's part of a series.
Yes.
And I know that next year you are wanting to do more series.
Yeah.
So if it's good.
Very cute, isn't it? Because I had such a lovely time this year reading the Cazalet Chronicles, and I had a lovely time being in that series. So David picked this because firstly, well, and also because it's translated as well, I think you said to me when I unwrapped it. Because
Yes.
it's translated and because it's the first in a series. So yeah, and I mean, I've heard of this book. I've seen it sort of doing the rounds on BookTube, and I know it's quite beloved. But yeah, it sounds great. So in a small back alley in Tokyo, there is a cafe which has been serving carefully brewed coffee for more than 100 years. But this coffee shop offers its customers a unique experience. Hiccup, the chance to travel back in time. In Before the Coffee Gets Cold, we meet 4 visitors, each of whom is hoping to make use of the cafe's time travelling offer in order to confront the man who left them, receive a letter from their husband whose memory has begun to fade, see their sister one last time, and meet the daughter they never got the chance to know. So it says it's a beautiful, moving story, explores the age-old question, what would you do if you could travel back in time? More importantly, who would you want to meet, maybe for one last time? And it's translated from Japanese by Jeffrey Truslot. And I was quite excited because it starts with this relationship map of characters, and I quite like a list of characters at the beginning of the book, or a family tree or something like that. So to have this, which has got sort of like extra details in, was very exciting. So yeah, we'll probably pick this up in January actually. And then lastly, this was a gift from David's nan, and it is an edition of Pride and Prejudice, of which I've never seen before. So this is the complete Pride and Prejudice novel by Jane Austen, but wherever there is a letter mentioned, there is a letter, which is so exciting. So like this will be placed where there's a letter, and then this is for, oh, there's 2 letters in this bit. So this is for Miss Elizabeth Bennet. The only thing is I did have a hard time undoing them. Oh no, this is much better. So yeah, and then so you actually have to undo the letter and then read it. My dearest Lizzie, well, I'm sure it. My dearest Lizzie will, I'm sure, be incapable of triumphing in her better judgment at my expense when I confess myself to have been entirely deceived by Miss Bingley's regard for me. There we go. So it's in, and so that's very, very fun, isn't it? That that's an extra sort of like little element to reading the book, which is just lovely. And yeah, the book itself looks lovely, and it's very nice. So yeah, what a lovely little thing. So there we go, those are the books that I got for Christmas. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books. Let me know what books you got for Christmas. We'll be very, very interested in hearing. And I'll see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye!